Hello, humans. You all look so squishy, so soft. I'm here to talk to you about yawn, artificial intelligence. But don't worry, I am not here to sell you anything unless you want to buy a jar of my homemade hot honey peanut butter. It's so delicious. Sometimes I get questions. How much energy does AI use? How can we use AI better? And most importantly, how can we do music and climate sustainability better with all this AI swimming around? First of all, let's talk resources. Disclaimer, every AI model is different, but here are some rough numbers to keep in mind. Chat level functions, questions like how to swing a VIP pass at Coachella or how to optimize my chord progression use about 10 drops of water and use as much energy as it takes to run an LED bulb for about 2 minutes. Generating an image for your tour poster or album art with Nano Banana or DALL-E takes about 18 watt hours and 8 ounces of water. That's like charging a smartphone from 0 to 100, and a small glass of water. Now for the more important bits. Making a song with Suno or Udio or Gemini, that's about 40 watt hours and 2 glasses of water, twice as much as it takes to create an image. But as we move into making videos, things start to get really crazy. Generating just a 10-second clip takes about 1 kilowatt hour. That's like driving a Model 3 for a mile and a gallon of water. If you want to feel better about things, you can use smaller models like GPT-4 Mini or Gemini Flash. Those can use up to 90% less energy than the Pro models. And also, do a great job briefing your AI as if you were briefing a really expensive creative director, because if you mess it up, you have to do it twice. So should you use AI? I mean, I guess use it the same way you use oil, fly less, eat plant-forward meals, use smaller models, and don't make a bunch of Blackpink videos all day long. That's a Blackpink joke. Their videos have a lot of AI in them. As most of you here know, individual actions don't do much, even if you are rendering sci-fi videos all day long. But when scaled up, AI can, and already does, test the limits of our electric grid, which leads me to story time. Forgive the name drop, but I used to work in marketing at Google, and I was really jazzed to be part of the team that launched the 24/7 carbon-free initiative in 2020. We were going to take Google's data centers down to 0 emissions. It felt like I was using my marketing brain to sell something people might actually find useful in the world. Then AI happened. Google and most other tech companies began to walk back their carbon commitments. And there really was only one reason: all that energy needed to train and run large language models. There was nowhere near enough renewable energy on the grid to keep up with all of that. And the grid has proven too slow for the needs of AI. It can take years to permit new construction connections that make the data centers run. And so what happens now, you guessed it, we put up gas plants to power them instead. Isn't that effed up? So much for 24/7 carbon-free. The explosion in power consumption for AI now accounts for most of the new gas growth in the US, which is crazy. Now, AI is, of course, everywhere, including the music industry. Why? Because it's awesome. This song, maybe you've heard it.
Been beat down, but I don't stay low.
Walk My Walk by Breaking Rust went to #1 on the Billboard Country Digital Song Sales chart. We're entering a future where human artists will just seem really, really expensive, no matter how good they are. You could pay a bevy of Nashville songwriters, session musicians, engineers, and marketers tens of thousands of dollars, or spend a day writing a really good prompt, upload the song to YouTube, and see what happens. You might do pretty well with it. And remember, this is the worst this technology is ever going to be. I probably don't need to tell you that labels have taken significant stakes in AI-created music, and with hits like Breaking Rust already in the ether, who can blame them? Money talks. You may have also heard that AI can help us solve for some of our biggest climate problems, and yes, that is true. The International Energy Agency has predicted that AI will be able to help us mitigate 5 to 10% of all emissions. That's a big deal. In fact, there are some folks in the room already using AI to make their own sustainability businesses run better. Neil, who you just heard from a few panels ago, has, with his team at Overdrive, used a bunch of tools, including Claude Code, to develop their own software called Overdrive RPM, which is really pretty crazy. It makes it easy for generator techs at festivals to walk around and casually snap photos and take voice notes of what's going on behind the stage and clean them up for reporting, which helps Neil make far more efficient choices for the next show. So if he's running the show at Willie Nelson's Luck Festival in March, he can then turn that around and use the data to burn a lot less diesel at Coachella, which he was at Coachella, maybe not the stage, but ran a lot of stuff behind the scenes at Coachella. And that's huge, and that never would have happened without AI. Marwan Ibrahim, in the audience here as well, he'll hear from later, runs a company called Nimblist. They use a tool called Cedar, and with Cedar, they can take a vendor's raw documents like receipts from Home Depot or utility bills and extract emissions data from them. That saves days of sifting through data. Robots are sorting waste at big events. ML systems are reducing HVAC usage at buildings up to 40%, and that's a big deal too. But please, don't get it twisted. We've all seen what happens when humans are given a magic technology. Some people use it to boost equality, make great art, even heal the sick, but as a society, we tend to use it to exploit and degrade anything we use that technology on. So beware false prophets, y'all. There are no magic bullets, and there are definitely no adults in the room. One thing we do know about AI is that it's going to force us to think really hard about what is exactly all these things we do so well as humans. We know that machines can write songs, sometimes even good ones. And what does that say about the future of humans making songs for money? I certainly can't tell you, to be very clear, but you can look at the way human taxi drivers are competing with Waymo and fighting Waymo right now for a little bit of a glimpse of what that might look like. Will AI kill music? Hell no. Remember, AI learned everything it knows from us, from humans. From people. The reason we're scared of AI, freaked out about it, is that it's a layer of all of us on top of us. That illustrious poet, will.i.am, has suggested that it's time to start labeling music like we do food. The stuff that's made by humans will be organic. And indeed, Bandcamp has started to take strides in this direction, as have other platforms. The algorithmic music that fills up those chill-out, lo-fi, study music playlists will be labeled GMO or maybe something else. The way that labels and platforms are investing in AI doesn't exactly scream musicians will get an even better cut of the profits than they already do, to me, at least. However, people will, as long as they walk this earth, want to get together to hang out and listen to music. I think it's really important that everyone here begins to think harder about how important it is for us to all come together. Music is that social glue for so many of us. Now back to me. Just as Google was walking back its carbon commitments, it laid off around 12,000 people over email. I was one of them. Am I bitter? You betcha. I loved those free snacks, and the Peloton membership was just the shit, and they took it all away from me. But really, I was just a canary in the coal mine, excuse the pun. The race to build an artificial general intelligence has just steamrolled most other things on the table, including the search for a livable future. The guardrails are officially off on this thing we have no idea how to control. The temptation to use AI in the worst of ways will always be front and center. I don't have to tell you what they are. But we're all here because we love music and because we care about our home planet. Can the music industry stop the destructive tendencies of capitalism that we are currently supercharging with AI? Probably not, but music itself might be able to. So let's continue to use AI in ways that we know are good, reducing emissions and waste, saving times, and making music more accessible. But be a speed bump in the room if things start to feel weird. Make sure that you're handing over tasks to machines that you can't do yourself, even if it might be a little bit harder if you do them yourself. So stay awake, stay human, and remember that a machine can never replace Grace Jones, Aphex Twin, Jerry Garcia, or even Richie Havens at Woodstock. We might be real different on the other side of all of this, but I think we'll always need music made by humans to gather around, and isn't that little bit of job security nice? Bye.
Thank you, Trent.